Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. My name is Gauthier, and I would like to welcome you to this technical webinar about the best way to normalize a file with Twist 7. I will be assisted by Uli Schuh, one of our PDF and Twist experts, and Christophe Bindler, our support manager. During this session, we will cover some of the new features of PSCheck and OPDF, as well as some of those you might not know yet. We will focus on features that will help you to normalize your PDF files the best way. And we will cover the following 4 topics: the ICC conversion and the new post-output option, the flattening of PDF 1.4 transparencies, the optimization of the file size and color for display on mobile device, and an automatic quality check using the Visual Compare tool. We have muted the sound in this session, but certainly you can post your question whether here in the live chat or send us an email at product@dalim.com. We will try to answer those questions once the presentation is done, of course. For more details on Twist, remember that EuroDuo and US Duo will take place in March and April. These events are a great opportunity to find out more about what ABOT will be explained here. So feel free to go to our website and register. I also wanted to let you know that we are going to record this webinar and we will make it available on our home page in the download section after this session. But now let's open the Twist editor and have a look to the workflow. What you can see here is basically the workflow structure we recommend for the PDF color normalization in Twist 7. The first thing you might probably have noticed is the loop in the workflow. This is basically how we automatically check the quality of the result using the Visual Compare and then adjust the workflow settings if it detects some error. Let's see this in detail. First of all, you have to know that the Visual Compare tool is only able to work on single-page documents. So, you have to split your document at the beginning of the workflow using this option in the input file. Splitting the document in the input file has another advantage indeed. It will dispatch all the pages of the PDF on your cluster and thus allows multiple servers to work simultaneously on your documents. To turn the file back to a multiple page PDF, we will use the filter group here to recombine it just before the end. The PSCheck and the OPDF tool here will normalize the file, and just right after that, the Visual Compare will check if the result looks the same than the original. In order to do that, we will choose the comparison mode preset reference here in the Visual Compare. In this case, the Visual Compare will compare the incoming document with the original one. Actually, when this mode is activated, the input file at the beginning of the workflow will automatically keep a copy of the original document and make it available for a comparison anywhere in the workflow. So there is nothing else to set up here. In the Settings tab, we will choose a colorimetric comparison mode with a high delta value, something around 20. As we are planning to do color correction, we don't want the Visual Compare to fail on any minor color changes, but only on missing objects, transparency issue, or broken fonts. That's why we will use colorimetric comparison with high delta value. Well, thanks to this setting, we are now able to detect any major changes on the document after the normalization. And when this happens, We will go that way on the red link. Restore the original document here. Change the setup of the workflow right here. And try to normalize the file again with the new setting. A good example for this is the option pre-flattened for ICC conversion in PScheck. This option. Since many RIPs are now PDF 1.4 compliant, we tend to keep the PDF transparency through the workflow and let the RIP handle them at the end. For this purpose, we will turn the option pre-flatten for ICC conversion off. But even if most of the time these settings will give you a good result and increase the file processing speed, applying ICC conversion on transparencies is not without consequences, and you may sometimes get some unwanted results. Thanks to the visual compare, we will be able to automatically detect such cases and reprocess the files with the option pre-flatten for ICC, enabled only if necessary. Let's show this with an example. I will bypass the visual compare and use this PDF file that looks like Watco Paints in the workflow. The file will be processed, but we will not check if the result is correct and directly output it in the destination folder. As you can see, we applied the ICC conversion on transparencies and the result is totally different than what we expect. So now let's enable the visual compare and do the same test. This time, the file will be normalized and analyzed by the visual compare. The visual compare will detect that there is some errors and the color changed. So it will restore the original documents, change the setup, and normalize the document again with the pre-flatten for ICC conversion. And finally, we get the results that we expect. Okay, so now that we have a very safe workflow that automatically detects any potential issue caused by the normalization, we can talk about the normalization itself. One of the new features we have added in Twist 7 is the possibility to add a post-output ICC profile that will be applied right after the regular ICC conversion. The post-output option is here. As you may know, when a PDF is generated for a certain output device, we cannot simply replace the output intent here by another one, because this will give us an unpredictable result. By using a device link here as a post-output profile, we will be able to repurpose the documents for a different output device in a better way, directly in Twist and without using any third-party system. You will also be able to apply some optimization on your color, like dot gain compensation or ink optimization. You can imagine that we choose a device link profile that will control the total area coverage and reduce the ink consumption. Actually, it's just a matter of finding the profile that matches your expectation. Another settings that you really should look at when normalizing your PDF file is the flattening. This setup has to be done either in PSHake or OPDF. So let's do it in OPDF. No matter what you want to do with your document, we recommend that you set the local rasterize option to InVector. With InVector, all transparencies will be analyzed and the tool will decide to pre-render the transparency and to replace it with a simple color, a city, or a line work object. It is depending on the structure of the document in this area. All the other modes are for compatibility with older software, so we recommend from now to only use the InVector option. The resolution of the images generated by the flattening is usually the same than the rest of the documents. But you can choose a different resolution with the custom here if you want a better quality of the flattening. Then, if you really want to make your PDF compliant with any reader and RIP, you can go one step further and turn on the option Flatten Any Transparency. It will not only rasterize the PDF 1.4 transparencies in this case, but also any overprint objects that are not 100% opaque. Just be aware that flattening is not without consequences and it will decrease the processing performance of your system. It will also always increase the size of your file, and some readers may display small white lines on screen when the smoothing is activated, like for instance when you enable the smooth image in Acrobat. And we will finish this session with the last topic about how to achieve the right file size for mobile device without affecting the content and the quality of the PDF. In OPDF, again, you can choose a special output format named PDF City Vector. This format has been especially designed to repurpose your PDF file for mobile devices. Once you choose this mode, it will automatically change a few settings in the interface. The color space will be set to RGB to match the device's screen. It will also change the resolution of the city and line work to 72 and 144 dpi. But we recommend to put a higher resolution, like 144 everywhere or 200 dpi, and set the city compression to JPEG with a high quality. This should give you a good image quality results and will reduce the size of your file significantly. The general compression here has to be set to zip to reduce the global size of the file. In the Expert tab, make sure that the right metadata option is turned off, because XMP data can be very heavy, especially when it includes the preview of the document. The other option that you can play with to reduce the size of the file is the Generate Subset Fonts, but it will depend on the document you will process. In case of single-page PDF or PDF that do not contain too many pages, you can turn this option on without problem. It will always be good and can only reduce the size of your file. But if you mainly process big multiple-page PDFs, we recommend to turn it off. Otherwise, you may get a file bigger than the original one. So this option really depends on the number of pages your document contains. Finally, in the Miscellaneous tab, you can control the CMYK to RGB conversion here. You can choose the default input profile you want to use and the target profile RGB profile you need. For those of you who need a better control on the ICC conversion, we recommend you to put a PS check in front of the OPDF and manage the ICC here. As for our results, let me see what the CT vector format can do. We have here 3 files of 2 megabytes, 6.2 megabytes, and 1.4 megabytes. And we will process them in this very small workflow with the setup we recommend. As you can see, the file that was 2.1 megabytes is now 186 kilobyte big. The 6 megabytes file is now 1.7 megabyte big, and the 1.4 megabyte file is now 142 kilobytes. And if we look at the results, the quality is almost the same. The text is kept, and the images are still of good quality. So CT vector documents generated by the TWIST7 looks pretty good on any mobile device and will display much faster than a regular PDF. But be careful when you open it in Acrobat. Actually, the CT vector PDF does not contain any output intent. Because of this, when opening, Acrobat automatically applies a CMYK simulation profile that will affect the color of the file. If you want to see the document as it will be displayed on a mobile device in Acrobat, do not forget to switch the simulation profile here to the right one. In this case, the sRGB profile. It will give you a better color result. Well, this is it for what I wanted to show you, and it's now time to have a look to the question with our engineers.
Thank you, Gauthier. So I'm here with Uli as well. So we have got some questions. The first question is when to use the post-output option in the PS check tool.
Christophe,
so if you can just show the tool. On Uli, I think he has a good reply for that.
So when you have a look in the PS check, you see here what you know already from TWIST6 before. You have an input CMYK profile on top and an output profile. So you could already do some CMYK to CMYK conversion in TWIST6. But what you couldn't do easily, at least, that is you have a PDFX file with an output intent, and you want to repurpose your document from the output intent to another printing condition. So in other words, the output intent will be the input profile in this case. So now in TWIST7 you have the option post output. So when you enter a PDFX file, It goes first to the output intent, and then uses conversion from output intent to another profile, to the US web-coded FOCRA in this case. So that's the one purpose of this post-output, one big advantage.
Okay, thank you, Uli. So we have another question. Is when should we use object-based conversion or the document-based conversion for the colors in the PS check? So this is the same tab.
So in fact, the object-based, this is converting object by object. When you have an RGB image, it looks only, the object-based option looks only on this image, and we'll convert it to CMYK, for example. With the document-based, the document is first analyzed, the entire document, and there you get the options pre-flattened for ICC conversion. In the overprinting or transparent objects are highly depending on the color values of the object. When you see a blue color, which is overprinting, that has a 0% yellow, it may lead that the ICC conversion may transform it to a blue color with maybe 2% yellow. And then you have there, that means it will no more overprint because overprinting is only with 0%. So in these cases, you have quite often is transparencies and overprinting colors. So the pre-flagging for ICC conversion makes sure that your visual aspect of the transformation will be as the original file, because otherwise you get surprises, bad surprises very often without this option.
Okay, thank you, Uli. Then we have another question from another Twist specialist. Is why are we demoing here the visual compare and not the PDF compare? So here I think yeah, we can show both tools at the same time. So as a reminder, the PDF compare is based on the Adobe Print Engine. So in Twist it requires an additional license, but it's true that this one, as it uses Adobe Print Engine, it can certify your file and simulate a kind of the same output as a RIP, a Kodak or an Agfa RIP would do for plating the file. So besides the fact that it is using the Adobe Print Engine, the PDF compare has, in fact, less possibilities because it requires to start from a PDF file, while the visual compare can start with any file format. You could compare an original incoming PDF with an HELTIF-IT file in a Gravure environment, for example, without any special trick. If you want to do the same with APPE, you will need to involve the PDF renderer tool, in fact, to rasterize your PDF to TIFF before you compare it to the HELTIF-IT that you may have generated with our raster engine. Also, you have seen some minor differences in the interface, like the loss of overprint is not included in the PDF compare for the moment, because this is a Dalim special function that is included in the comparison algorithm, and we need to rasterize a file to detect such areas. Therefore, if we would do like this in the PDF compare, we should implement kind of analyzer in front of the rasterization to detect such elements. I hope I was clear about yeah, when to use a visual compare and when to use a PDF compare. Possibly, yeah, if your workflow is full PDF, try to use the PDF compare. Then we have an interesting question because we are using a trick in the Wayton tool where we restore the original file, and everybody is a bit surprised how this is working. And here I think Gauthier will simply detail what it does.
Yes, so actually we use the waiton to restore the original file. So basically, as you probably know, the waiton is able to wait on the file to be available in the folder. And because the input file already placed the document somewhere and saved the path of this file in memory in Twist, we can use the variable visual compare reference file path to retrieve this file, and we use this file in the waiton and say wait on this file that already exists actually, and then copy it in the process and replace the main file. So what it will do here is that it will take the reference file, copy it in place of the current documents, and continue that way. So this is the trick we use to restore the original file that was previously saved by the input file.
Thank you, Gauthier. So I'm checking for other questions. And I think we replied to most of them. It's you have still a few seconds to send your question if you want to see something else. If not, we will conclude the session. No more questions? Okay, so just before Gauthier concludes, so we saw that some people had some difficulties to get the voice during the session. It was cut. So even if this session has been recorded, we will in fact re-record it here alone, and we will post it to the web afterwards. So you are sure that the sound will be good. Okay, then I would thank everyone, and let Gauthier conclude on the session.
Thanks. Okay, so this webinar is now finished. So we hope it has been helpful, and we also would like to thank you for joining us. And we also, of course, apologize for the small technical problem we had. So as Christophe said, remember that we are going to make this webinar available on our home pages in the download section. And we will also put the workflow you can see here on our forum at forum.dalim.com. So if you want to get a copy of it, just connect forum.dalim.com and feel free to get it. That's it. So have a nice day, and see you for another session.